Diamond K coming at you from the Radio on Fire newsrooms. It's been a very interesting night. It's going to be a long night as election results here in Baltimore have been delayed, obviously, not surprisingly, due to COVID-19 concerns, things moving very slowly with regards to election results, with regards to the such. There were long lines and a lot of counting delays because of the precautions for COVID-19. People taking a lot of necessary precautions, but Baltimore's primary election, very critical, very important for the city. Some people received their ballots by mail. Some people did. Many people did not. I am one of the people who did not receive their ballot in the mail. So I took the opportunity to vote in person at my old high school. I voted at Edmondson, which is in District 8. So that experience was interesting, to say the least. So lines, you got lines for, if you've ever been to Edmondson, so obviously you have the front door, and the line was, I was in line for about 90 minutes today to cast my vote. And you did what is called the provisional ballot if you did not receive your, ballot in the mail. Like I said, as I did not receive mine in the mail. So we're going to talk about that. It's going to be a long time before we have results. Probably won't have total results until the morning. As I said, long lines causing these delays. Lines at a handful of polling places were open, but lines were still in effect after polls closed at 8 p.m. And due to the occupancy limits, they weren't really letting people in like that. Voters remained in line and outside up until about 10 p.m. So 2 hours worth of extra voting, because those people were in line by 8 p.m. Took 2 hours. So as I said, things were moving very, very slow. But luckily, the weather was good. People seemed to be in a good mood. And it wasn't that bad. Interesting thing that I noticed voting, the many candidates were walking the line and trying to get last minute votes in, trying to make that last minute plea to get your vote. As I said, many candidates, I had a chance to speak with several candidates about, just stuff. Another thing I noticed, Republican candidates were not wearing masks or any face covering. Democratic candidates were wearing their face coverings. Also in line, it was easy for me to point out Republicans, registered Republicans, because they didn't have on any face coverings. And a lot of Democrats, most of the Democrats that I saw had face coverings. You may say, how do you know a Republican from a Democrat? But being a part of the media, I was eavesdropping on many people's conversations, and just watching the interactions between candidates and prospective voters. I had a chance to do that during my walk up the line after I voted. After my 90 minutes waiting to vote, I then walked the line and just took in the atmosphere, took in the environment, and very interesting. As I said, very, very interesting. It was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But let me say, things were moving very, very, very slowly. Some of the candidates that I saw out, Shannon Sneed, I saw her. She's running for city council. She was out. TJ Smith, he was out. Kimberly Classic, who is a Republican and who is running for the seat that Kwesi Mfume has now. She was out. Catalina Bird, saw her out. Christopher Burnett, saw him out. And there were a lot of antics. Kwesi Mfume had a big truck, like the trucks that they have at, the reggae festivals where the people are dancing on it. He had a truck like that size with loudspeakers playing, R&B soul music that was interesting and had his banners on the side. Sheila Dixon had some trucks out that kind of had a megaphone on top telling people, hey, you need to vote. It's the most important election in the world. That kind of thing going on. Pandemonium everywhere. A lot of people passing out a lot of literature, a lot of trees that were destroyed due to this election. A lot of door hangers passed to people as flyers. The things that they hang on the doors that they normally would do during their canvassing. A lot of canvassing, obviously, they were not able to do because of the pandemic. So you were getting a lot of those in people's hands. So many people know that I have been very, very critical of Brandon Scott. And I had a chance to have a very passionate discussion with him, and hope to have him on the show sometime in the near future. But as is the case, we had a very interesting discussion, and initially he didn't want to talk to me. As I said, I have been very critical of Mr. Scott, and but we did have a chance to talk, and I thought that the conversation that we had was very interesting. It was a different Brandon Scott that I have seen on stages and at forums and on social media. I thought that he was more candid, and I said, if you show this Brandon Scott to the people, it would be better for him. I think that his communication has gotten better. He feels that it is his time to lead the city, and that remains to be seen as to whether or not the voters of Baltimore agree with him and feel the same way. He obviously is one of the front runners for this election. As it stands right now, we are very, very early in this counting process. As I said, election results are going to be delayed due to this COVID-19 pandemic and all of the precautions that people have taken. Everything is moving slow, like super, super slow. As it stands right now, Sheila Dixon is in the lead, but it is we got a ways to go as far as votes right now. Sheila Dixon in a comfortable lead with 22,000 votes in. Sheila Dixon is considerably ahead of her closest challenger, and we are just 112 of the 296 precincts reporting, about 37% of the vote in as of right now. In second place as of this moment, Mary Miller with 12,000 votes. Ways to go. The night is still young. Through Vignaraja right now in a close third to Mary Miller. Brandon Scott in fourth. Another thing that was interesting, the current mayor, the incumbent, Bernard Jack Young, he did not have a presence at any of the polling places that I visited. And he is going to lean on he was fighting the pandemic and the protesters and the such. But I think that he knows he is not going to win He's not going to win at all. I don't think he's a bad person. I don't think that at all. I just think that the job of the mayor, it's a serious thing in a city like this, and I just don't think that Jack Young, is cut out to be the mayor. I think that a mayor of a city like this, he has to be more comfortable speaking to the public than he is. He's not that comfortable speaking to the public, and whenever he's talking, I'm looking like, what is he saying? Like, what is he saying, and why is he saying it? Just tuning in. Election results are going to be delayed. As of right now, 112 of 296 precincts reporting. And we are looking at currently Sheila Dixon in the lead with 22,922 votes right now. Her closest challenger is Mary Miller with 12,961 votes in. But we still have a long way to go. I did see Mary Miller today out canvassing at Edmondson. If a strong wind came through, it would have blew her away. That's how little she is. Through Vignaraja had a heavy presence at polling places that I visited. He was not there, but he had a heavy presence of people passing out paraphernalia and what have you. Brandon Scott currently right now has 8,500 votes in. He is just about 13%. And Jack Young surprisingly is in 5th as of right now, but he didn't make a serious run for it, and I don't think that he expects to win the mayorship. He didn't win it last time, and he didn't win it this time. And these are Baltimore City numbers as far as it goes, but throughout Maryland was election day, and in several other states elections took place. As far as the presidential, no surprises there. Joe Biden taking that, as all of his challengers dropped out some time ago, and Donald Trump taking the Republican side. No surprise there. Results are still coming in for the Baltimore's mayor race and the city council president race, as well as the city council. So let's look at some of these other races and see if we have any results here. All right, so a lot of people may not be too familiar with the circuit judges and those cases, those races. A lot of people running unopposed, so no big deal there. A lot of people don't pay attention to those races, but they are important. Circuit judges, that's important. That is very important. So, also on the docket of things to talk about, I said docket. We talk about judges, so I said docket. Charges filed in Atlanta on 6 officers there. Just a horrific thing. Horrific from the standpoint of abuse of power, police brutality, the such. Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard said that charges are being filed against 6 Atlanta police officers that were involved in the incident where the 2 college students were pulled from their car and tased. Messiah Young and Tanya Pilgrim were pulled from their car and tased. 2 of the Atlanta officers were fired. 3 of them are on desk duty, and video shows the arrest of the college students. They were not participating at that moment in Saturday's protests in Atlanta. Officers charged As I said, 6 officers: Ivory Streeter, Mark Gardner, Lonnie Hood, Willie Sauls, E. Armand Jones, and F. Roland Claude, all charged. And the body camera footage is out there, and it looks terrible. It looks terrible. It's really not a good look. Body camera footage of these 6 officers. The video is very dramatic, and you're seeing them pull these 2 young people from the car and shooting them with stun guns, tasing them. And these were protests. They were trying to go where they were going. But I think that it could be that the officers were just riled up from the protests and everything was going on. But when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. These officers seem to be looking for drama and just creating drama where there was no drama. No drama. Press conference today by the district attorney. And it just so happens that some of these cases where officers are having these physical interactions right now are going to be heavily scrutinized because of the climate right now. A lot of times these officers were getting away with this type of stuff. Hopefully the days of that are gone. Hopefully. So let's look at some of these city council races. Of course, Diamond K in here, Radio on Fire, Nightly News. We are much later than our normal time because the election results delayed. But that's okay. We're going to be here and we're going to be talking about it. We talked a little bit about the mayor's race, but the Baltimore City Comptroller, Joanne Pratt, the incumbent, is involved in a very competitive race against Bill Henry. As of right now, Bill Henry is in the lead, but he just is inching past Joanne Pratt. We're going to be following that race. And in the Baltimore City Council, we're going to start with District 1. And just one of 4 precincts reporting, but it looks right now that the incumbent is losing. But as I said, we still have some time to go. 1,000 votes, close to 2,000 votes in, and the incumbent is behind. But as I said, we're still counting. They are still counting votes. Baltimore City Council District 2, and these are the Democratic candidates that we're looking at now. Of course, you have Danielle McCrae in the lead as of right now, but it is still early. This is for Baltimore City Council District 2. The Republican is running unopposed. District 3, there is the incumbent, Ryan Dorsey, who has a considerable lead. It is still early, but right now in District 3, Ryan Dorsey is ahead. The Republican is running unopposed. Very competitive race for the Baltimore City Council District 4. Very competitive race there. That seat is open, and some of it's very close. Mark Conway, Logan Endow, and Nicole Harris Crest are in a 3-way battle as of right now, but there are others in the race. Still very early, but those are your front runners in a very heavily contested race for the city council seat in District 4. District 5, the incumbent is considerably ahead, so we're going to continue to follow that one. The incumbent, Isaac, is favored to win. Republican in District 5 is running unopposed. In District 6, Sharon Middleton, who is the incumbent, is considerably head and shoulders above her competition, and she is favored to win. She has 63,000 votes currently, 97% of the votes. The other candidates won 300 votes for Timothy Mercer and Mr. Barksdale, 60,000 votes behind. Sharon Middleton is probably going to take that. Republican in District 6 running unopposed. The Baltimore City Council race, another race that I have been watching closely. District 7, highly contested. This seat is currently open, and it is close race. We have a three-way thing going right here with 5 people in the race. 2 of the candidates not making the impact of the top 3. James Torrance is currently ahead with 1,700 votes. Brian Sims and Tory Rose battling for second place right now. Still very early in this race. The Republican Chris Anderson running unopposed. In District 8, the incumbent Christopher Burnett is ahead right now. He is favored to win. Anthony Green has 36%, but Mr. Burnett has 63% of the vote right now. Still a ways to go in that race. The Baltimore City Council District 9 race. The incumbent John Bullock is favored to win. He has 2,581 votes currently, but this is not over yet. He is, as I said, favored to win, but that doesn't mean anything, not in the day and age of COVID. District 10, another one of those races that when you look at the city council, this election is going to change the makeup of the Baltimore City Council. A lot of seats that are going to be, they're vacant. They're going to be vacated, and you're going to get a fresh new person there in District 10. This race is anybody's race at this point. Felicia Porter is currently in the lead, but close behind Keisha Allen, Bill Marker, Ray Conaway, all close. This is a race that is highly contested. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candidates vying for the Democratic nomination in District 10. The Republican, it looks like Michael Nolet is in the lead currently. We're going to continue to follow that. As far as District 11, Eric Costello running unopposed. District 12, the incumbent is in the lead currently, but it's not a strong lead. Robert Stokes Sr. is ahead of Philip Westry by about 500 votes. So we're going to continue to follow that. Republican candidate in District 12 running unopposed. We still don't have numbers yet for District 13 and 14, so we're going to continue to follow those races. Another race that is something that people have been following, and that is the city council president. Jack Young used to be city council president, and he moved into the mayor's ship with the resignation of former Mayor Catherine Pugh. Brandon Scott was the person who took the job, president of city council. However, he is running for mayor, and his seat is available. I asked him today Why didn't he concentrate on the city council and defending that seat? But he said that his time was now. He said he's run for mayor before, and he felt that with 13 years that he has been working at City Hall, that it was his time. And he did not like people questioning whether he was ready at 36 to be mayor. And he told me that he was ready. So we will see, as I said, if Baltimore's voters agree with him. As it relates to the city council, we're going to get a new person in this job, obviously. Ahead is Nick Mosby. Currently, he has 27,745 votes in. We still have a ways to go. Shannon Sneed with 19,212, and Carl Stokes knocking on the door, but 17,470 votes. The other candidates are not a threat currently as it relates to the city council president. So that's where we're at right now. So we're going to continue to follow that and see if we get some type of results tonight. Another thing that is happening, the President Trump is getting pushed out. Depends on how you look at it. But the Republicans are going to have their convention in North Carolina. Now, the president said that they had long planned to have the Republican National Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina, a place that he loves. You know, he's got to pander to the citizens. Now, Roy Cooper, who is the governor, and his representatives refused to guarantee that we can have use of the Spectrum Arena, spend millions of dollars, have everybody arrive, and then tell them they will not be able to gain entry. Governor Cooper is still in shelter-in-place mode and not allowing us to occupy the arena as originally anticipated and promised. We would have showcased beautiful North Carolina to the world and brought in hundreds of millions of dollars and jobs for the state, because North Carolina's governor, we are now forced to seek another state to host the 2020 Republican National Convention. So, what is he talking about? President, they have been flirting with this, having to go somewhere else for their convention. The issue here, and Trump's complaints, is that the Democratic governor, Roy Cooper, refused to guarantee that he can have a whole bunch of people in the arena. And to his credit, he's not buckling under the pressure, and he's doing that. He says that he wants to do that because they want to make sure that people are safe. So as I told you, when I went to vote in different voting locations, some people had on face coverings, some people did not. Now, the Republicans that I saw did not have on face coverings. And that is because you have two different types of perspectives as to where we are with COVID-19. Some people feel that it's better safe to protect themselves. Some people feel that everything's fine. And what Trump's going to probably do, and the Republicans, is go somewhere that is controlled by a Republican that feels that everything is fine, and you can bring a mass group of people to their arena and do that. So that's what you have. Where is he going to go? Is he going to take it to Mar-a-Lago? I doubt if he's going to take it there. He's probably going to try to take it to Florida. The governor, and I keep saying that he's a Democrat, but he's a Democrat. So Governor Roy Cooper said in a letter to the top convention organizers and the Republican Party that they were hoping that they would scale down the convention and have fewer people, social distancing, and face coverings is all necessary. Now, that letter came on the eve of the deadline from the Republicans for assurances that Cooper would allow a full-scale event in August. So we're just a little bit over 2 months away from when they would have had the convention, and Cooper said we can't really say what's going to happen 2 months from now. If you look back 2 months from where we are currently, that's before the pandemic. And so 2 months can make a big difference is what Cooper is saying now. So he's saying that y'all can scale things down. Democrats in their convention, they're scaling things down. He's saying invite less people, let's have it somewhere else. So that's where you're at. They want a full-scale event. He does not. Cooper also told reporters that it is unlikely that virus trends would allow a full capacity nominating convention to proceed in what is the basketball arena for Charlotte. The governor said that we think it is unlikely that we would be to the point at the end of August to be able to have a jam-packed 19,000 person convention in the arena. So the likelihood of it being in Charlotte depends on the RNC, Republican National Committee's willingness to discuss with us a scaled down convention, and that is something that Republicans do not want to do because the president thinks that looks weak. Safety's weak. Where do we find him? This is the guy who's running the country. And this is the guy who wants people to vote for him again. Now, the first time, a lot of people did, we don't know what he's going to do. He hasn't been in office. Let's give him a shot. And many people gave him a shot. And as you can see, he has blown his load. All right. If we look at the numbers, look at the coronavirus numbers for North Carolina. They are facing an upward trend in its virus cases. They have about 29,000 cases, 900 deaths as of this moment. Around 700 COVID-19 patients are currently in the hospital. And, the governor is taking necessary precautions. It's the deadline that they gave was some artificial deadline. They're going to go somewhere. They want to try to put almost 20,000 people in an arena by the end of August. That's what Republicans want to do. Now, I will say this. The protesting that we've seen the last 5 or 6 days, if we don't see coronavirus spikes in some of these cities, some of these 16 cities or so that have been having major protests, then maybe things are better. Because the closeness of people, even with their masks, if you're able to have people that close and we don't have spikes, maybe things can loosen up even more to the point where you can have some mass gatherings, because these people are slam jammed together. But during these protests, if we don't see these spikes, maybe some of this fear is, I'm not going to say it's not warranted, but I'm going to say maybe you can ease back with some of the fear. If after these protests, we give it 10 days. If you don't have some major second wave action going on, then, I don't know. So let's go back and look at some of these votes. Where are we at with the Baltimore City mayor's race? Sheila Dixon is still in the lead. Brandon Scott has moved to second place. And Mary Miller in third place right now. We still have a ways to go. A lot of votes to be counted. Sheila Dixon currently has 22,922 votes. Brandon Scott in second place, a close second place, 18,517 votes for Brandon Scott. We are still counting the third position right now. Mary Miller, 12,961 votes. Only one of 4 precincts reporting, so we still have a ways to go. In the U.S. House race, this is the seat that is currently held by Kwesi Mfume. He is considerably ahead, and it looks like he's going to win, but it's not over. His closest competitor is Maya Cummings, but Kwesi Mfume, 65,789 votes. Maya Cummings with just 7,200, and behind her, Joe Carter with 6,100 votes. So that's where we are right now. Is this race going the way that I thought it was going to go? No, it is not. It is not going the way that I thought as it relates to the Baltimore City mayor's race. Sheila Dixon and Brandon Scott are really in a shootout right now. Sheila Dixon has remained in the lead, but Brandon Scott earlier in this broadcast was in fourth place. Now he is well ahead of Through Vignaraja, Mary Miller, and Jack Young, all following Brandon Scott. So it looks like this may come down to Brandon Scott and Sheila Dixon. Very interesting turn of events here. We're going to keep posted. As I said, this is going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night because of coronavirus. We don't have a winner to anything just yet. So the votes being cast mostly by mail, but a lot of people voted in person. I was one of those people. I voted in person. I didn't get my ballot, but I voted in person. And some people that I talked to said that they feel more comfortable voting in person. They just do. For whatever reason, they felt more comfortable voting in person. So if you did not receive your ballot, you did what is called voting in the provisional ballot. You did a provisional ballot. So you didn't put it in the machine. You put it in this sealed envelope kind of thing. And that's what I had to do. And many others had to do that because they did not receive their ballots in the mail. Another interesting thing I want to talk about the ballots is that if you notice, if you remember, the ballots went out late. Now, what I was complaining about is that how and why did the ballots go out late when the election was pushed back due to coronavirus? Meaning, when they had to send the ballots out was already delayed. So why did they go out late? They were already printed, and all they had to do was be mailed. So we have found out that Maryland had a company in Minnesota to do the mailing. So let's understand that, okay? Ballots were printed and sent somewhere else to be mailed out. Now they claim, the company in Minnesota claimed that Maryland sent them the ballots a week and a half late, which caused them to send them out late. And that's why they said that we got them. So understand this. When we talk about money being spent, when we talk about money being wasted, the state of Maryland sent something that needs to be mailed to people in Maryland to Minnesota to be mailed back to Maryland. Crazy, I know. And so some people enjoyed dropping off the ballot. I thought that was an interesting experience in itself. A lot of cars and people just kind of driving around in a circle, putting their ballot, in the little container thing, and then driving off. So that wasn't too bad. If they can perfect this, voting procedure? Would you prefer things to be like this? Would you prefer to have it like this going forward? I'd like to hear people's thoughts on that. So we're checking tallies right now, and Sheila Dixon has increased her lead, but Brandon Scott is in a close second, right? He's in a close second. I only hesitated because when you look at the amount of money that the Mary Miller campaign spended, they have to be disappointed right now with where they sit in this race. Now, let me say this. The race is not over. We still have plenty of vote coming in. So I don't want you by any stretch to think that it is over, because it is not. We still do not know who is going to be the next mayor of Baltimore. But what we do know is that the winner of the Democratic primary, as far as the mayor's race, is going to be the mayor, more than likely. Now, that doesn't mean that it's definitely, because we have some Republicans running. It's possible, I suppose. It hasn't happened thus far, but it's possible. It's definitely possible that a Republican could be the mayor. But the way it's looking, it's probably going to be Sheila Dixon or Brandon Scott. And I think that they are strong enough to defeat any Republican challenger that's in the race, Brandon Scott or Sheila Dixon. Ironically, these are the two people that have experience working in City Hall. The two people with the experience working there are the ones fighting for your vote and fighting for that job. Very interesting to see what happens here. Who did you vote for? If you're from Baltimore, who did you vote for? I'd like to know who you voted for. You don't tell me there's something personal and you can't say. But it was a very, very unconventional primary, and I think that it's probably going to be an unconventional general election as well. So our current mayor, Jack Young, and the police commissioner today thanked police and protesters for their roles in ensuring that Baltimore continues to avoid the chaotic scenes between police and civilians that have played out in other cities. Today, the mayor said, "I love seeing the energy and the passion from so many young people while leading the city today." He said from police headquarters, and Baltimore has seen 4 days of protests since the tragic murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis. The city has not been a stranger to protests. We've seen protests following the 2015 murder of Freddie Gray. And that was a little bit rough. That turned violent, so to speak. But I definitely want to say that I'm happy first. I'm happy that the city has not taken some of the actions that some of the other cities have. So that's been a good thing. I was really concerned. There have been some vandalism that has happened, but ultimately, you look at some of the cities around the country and these protests that are continuing and have really, really gotten ugly. I'm really proud of the city. Now, Governor Hogan has, at the Pentagon's request, sent National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. So Maryland, and I want to say at the federal government's request, sent 116 Maryland troops to the National Mall, Hundreds of National Guard troops were already deployed to assist with coronavirus relief. And the Richmond Times-Dispatch reported that Virginia Governor Ralph Northam turned down a similar request from the Department of Defense after learning federal officials did not coordinate with the mayor. And there's always this power struggle going on between the federal government and state government. Yesterday, if you remember, that the president urged states to deploy the National Guard to tamp down the protest sparked by the death of George Floyd. He did not mention George Floyd. He did not mention why people were upset. He just tried to, in the vein of former President Richard Nixon, act like he's the law and order president. But let's keep in mind that the law and order president, who likes to talk about strength, was cowering and hiding in a bunker in the White House while protests were going on Friday. Scared. He was hiding in a nuclear fallout shelter because he was so scared. This is the quote unquote law and order president who had to quote unquote dominate, spraying non-violent protesters with rubber bullets, with pepper spray, with flash bombs. They use the defense secretary using the term battle space, following criticism from retired military officers. The term is just of possible domestic deployment of the army. It's unacceptable. The governors were chastised by the president. Did I mention that the president was cowering in a bunker, hiding in a bunker? But such is life. You know who this guy is. We know who he is. We know he's a big baby, and he's doing what babies do: have temper tantrums and the such. The president, so-called president, anyway. But he's the president currently. Let me say that he's the president currently. And let's go back and see where we are with election results. No changes here, really. We are, refresh the screen here. So we are still looking at results for the very important Baltimore City mayor's race, the Democratic primary. As we looked last, Sheila Dixon ahead Brandon Scott in striking distance, and that is where we still are as it relates to the Baltimore's race to elect a new mayor. And it looks like that is going to happen. The incumbent, Jack Young, is in 5th place currently. And unless a miracle happens for Jack Young, this is going to be the end of his job as the mayor, bare minimum. I mean, well, he should have run for the city council. Maybe he could have won that. But I guess once you're the mayor, can you double back and run for city council? It probably looks crazy for him. It probably feels crazy for him. Well, I hope that he has enjoyed his time, because his time is coming to an end. Some people are saying that I have not talked about the Baltimore City mayor Republican candidates. So we're going to do that right now. On the Republican side, Shannon Wright is ahead with votes. Catalina Bird is in 2nd. William Hurd is in striking distance of Catalina Bird. But these are the Republican candidates. So, of course, you have the Democratic candidates, and then you have the Republican candidate. And the Democratic mayor's race, some people didn't know how many people were running for mayor. Real quick, let's do a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 Democrats were running. Now, some have suspended their campaigns, but that is an amazing number of people running for that position. Amazing number of people running for that position. So ultimately, who is going to win? Who is going to become the mayor? I don't know. I know who I voted for. I'm not going to tell you, but I know who I voted for. Maybe if the person I voted for wins, maybe I'll tell you. Maybe I'll tell you that. No, when the election's over, I'll reveal who I voted for. But as I said, Baltimore mayor's race, the count has been delayed because of the coronavirus concerns. So things normally would have been done by now. The polls, people were still in line up until about 10 p.m. tonight. Polls were supposed to close at 8 p.m. Some people were still in line at 10 p.m. So the Maryland State Board of Elections said they would not release the total results until after all the voting is done. So, of course, voting has been done, and you still have the ballots that were mailed in or dropped off. They have to be quarantined for 24 hours before they can be counted due to concerns about transmission of coronavirus. So you still have those ballots to be counted. Every vote's going to be critical. Let's go back to the 2016 election. You had Catherine Pugh defeating Sheila Dixon by just under just over 2,400 votes. So 2,408 votes. So every little vote counts, and that is something that Sheila Dixon knows very well. The winner of the city's very crowded Democratic primary, as I said, featured more than 20 candidates. The winner of this will likely become the mayor. So we will see what happens. Of course, we talked about some of the front runners besides Sheila Dixon. President of the City Council, Brandon Scott. Former Deputy Attorney General Tharu Vignarajah. Former U.S. Treasury Department Undersecretary for Domestic Finance, that's a mouthful, Mary Miller, all front runners. But what we really need in Baltimore is we need a leader who is going to lead. We need some stability in the city. That's what people need. Stability. So hopefully we will get that. As I said, the outcome of this election could be ultimately a referendum on Baltimore's political classes. As I've said, Mary Miller, Tharu Vignarajah have held no jobs at City Hall. Sheila Dixon, Brandon Scott have. Sheila Dixon, again, is trying to make a comeback after what I'm going to say she was cheated out of the election by Pugh, because, where'd she get that money from? Right? Money from her campaign. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we have a lot of competitive races. As I said, we're going to check back on the numbers for the Baltimore City Council president and the comptroller, and as well as some of the other city council races. So we're going to be here watching the results, talking about the results, talking about the winners. Obviously, I'm very pleased that there were so many people out. I'm pleased that there were lines. Now, yes, things could have moved faster, but they wanted to be cautious and exercise all that good stuff, and I respect that. So I'm not going to dump on them for trying to be safe. So Sheila Dixon said this a little bit before polls closed, that if I win or lose, I'm at peace with myself. That is from former Mayor Sheila Dixon, who wants her job back. And I can respect that. Wanting your job back, I respect that. Is she going to get her job back? Does she deserve her job back? That is the question that many people are faced with. As we look at the Baltimore City Council president, Nick Mosby, still in the lead. He has increased his lead. Shannon Sneed in second in that race. Carl Stokes is in third, in striking distance of Shannon Sneed. So we're still watching the Baltimore City Council president race. As I said earlier, the Baltimore City Council president, Republican, is running unopposed. And how's it going? How is it going? Let's see. Yeah, so that was a artist manager in Atlanta, and so we had her on the live. So the Instagram live ran out. But it is a lot going on. We were talking about the protests in Atlanta and in Philly. So that's what we were discussing there. But we're still taking note of the election results and the very slow counts that are coming in. But things are really starting to take shape as it relates to the election. And who's going to be the next mayor is definitely something that people are looking at here in Baltimore. Who's going to be the next mayor of this great city? Because we definitely need a capable mayor. We need an honest mayor and a capable mayor, and we need some stability in this city, leadership, all of that, all the things that a mayor is supposed to bring. That's what we need right now. Who's going to be that mayor? Looking for that answer. The city council is taking shape, and that is going to be something different than we've seen before. So try to get those results, and we're going to check that back up, and we're going to get this IG live back popping again. So no real changes with regards to numbers. Let's do a refresh here. About 46% of the precincts in, 138 of 296 precincts reporting. Sheila Dixon still with the lead, but Brandon Scott in striking distance. Sheila Dixon has not run away with this yet, but we've been here before. Sheila Dixon, I'm sure she feels like she's been here before and then come up short at the end. So we're going to see what happens there. But one thing is for sure, we're going to have a new mayor of Baltimore, and it's not going to be Jack Young, because it is it's amazing. Yep. So let's do that. TJ Smith. I talked about TJ Smith. TJ Smith has been to the show before, and he was out with some of his folk that was interesting. So, you have these big signs. So he had a big sign up, and I got a chance to chop it up with one of his, what do you call them? Volunteers. So one of his volunteers. And so we're talking about why they like TJ Smith for the job. And he said that because TJ Smith has a law background as far as working with the police department, working with multiple police jurisdictions, that they thought that was a unique quality that he was bringing to the table. So I thought that was interesting. But What's really important is the governmental piece, whether or not he can govern. Very important there. What are we looking at when we are trying to decide who is going to be the mayor? How much work are citizens doing? I hear citizens ask politicians all the time, who's trying to get their vote, right? They'll say that politicians, these are people usually that are not engaged in politics. And they'll say, why are you not here? You're only here during election time. But then when you don't need my vote, I don't see you in my community. And what I've been telling people is that that's true and that's fine and that's important. But at the same time, how engaged are you? The person asking the question, how engaged are you when the election's over? Are you holding that politician accountable? That's the question. Are you holding the politician accountable during that time that they're not running? Because you have to hold the politician accountable, and the politician needs to be engaged in the community, not only when they need a vote. Something else that happened today, the passing of a Baltimore Bullets legend, Wes Unseld, passed away today at 74 years old. He is Hall of Fame center who led Washington, the Washington Bullets, to its only NBA championship. And he passed away, pneumonia. He's been ill for quite some time. His family announced his death today, and it was released in a statement by the Washington Wizards, franchise that he was with his entire 13-season career. He's also worked as a coach and a general manager. He will definitely be missed. And so this was the statement from the Wizards. Those of us who were fortunate enough to spend time with Wes knew him as a generous and thoughtful man whose strong will was matched only by his passion and drive for uplifting others. And this came from the Wizards GM, Tom Shepard. He continued, his physical prowess, undeniable talent, and on-court demeanor may have struck fear in opponents throughout the NBA, but he will be remembered best as a mentor, a leader, and a friend. Five-time All-Star, along with Wilt Chamberlain, one of the only two players to win the NBA Rookie of the Year and MVP honors in the same season. Unseld instantly made the team, then known as the Baltimore Bullets, into a winner after he was taken with the number 2 overall pick behind his future teammate Elvin Hayes in the 1968 draft. So Unseld took a leave of absence for an undisclosed health reason back in 2003, ending his 35 years of continuous service to the franchise. He had both knees replaced in October of that year, and afterward he appeared at games only occasionally. I had a chance to speak with Wes Unseld on a couple of occasions, but the last time that I saw him was in 2006. So he had already had both of his knees replaced, and he was in a great deal of pain. I saw him out, and we talked for a few moments, but he was in a lot of pain. I mean, two knee replacements is tough stuff. But he's a tough guy. Wes Unseld, survived by his wife Connie, his daughter Kim, and his son Wes Unseld Jr. 2 grandkids. His son is an assistant coach with the Denver Nuggets. Funeral arrangements are pending, and we'll keep you posted whenever we find out when that is, and we will keep you posted. The family said that he was the rock of our family, an extremely devoted patriarch who reveled in being with his wife children, friends, and teammates. The family continued their statement and said that he was our hero and loved playing and working around the game of basketball for the cities of Baltimore and Washington, D.C., cities he proudly wore on his chest for so many years. So definitely RIP to a legend, Wes Unseld. Radio on Fire, of course, Diamond K in here. And as we wait for votes to come in, Brandon Scott still in the same zone, striking distance, but just 138 of 296 precincts reporting. So that's about half. So this race and other races not over yet. It could still go some different places. But interestingly, Mary Miller, third place currently, Brandon Scott, Sheila Dixon in that order. And let's look at some of these other races. City Council President Nick Mosby has increased his lead. Shannon Sneed I don't want to say striking distance, but Nick Mosby 27,745. Shannon Sneed 19,212 votes. As for the comptroller, Joanne Pratt, who has been involved in some controversies. I don't know who she pissed off, but there's some people that are trying to take her down. And it looks like Bill Henry is winning, but it is not over. And it is a back and forth thing. Another city council race that I have been watching is in the 7th district. James Torrance is winning currently, but a lot of votes still to come in that race. Brian Sims and Tory Rose battling for that. So of course we're going to keep you posted on this. I'm sure that this is going to go well into the night. So we will be back 12 noon tomorrow with conversations about the winner in all of the races that we are following here. Of course, your man Diamond K, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. I'll see you guys tomorrow.